Fran Drescher, president of the Screen Actors Guild, American Federation of Television and Radio Artists, known as SAG-AFTRA, she got heated in a recent press conference announcing a massive strike. The Screen Actors Guild will be going on, is actually on strike, joining the current strike of the Writers Guild of America. So I'm going to show you her statements here because they're incredibly powerful and strong. Without further ado.
How far apart we are on so many things. How they plead poverty, that they're losing money left and right when giving hundreds of millions of dollars to their CEOs. It is disgusting. Shame on them. They stand on the wrong side of history at this very moment. Our union and our sister unions and the unions around the world are standing by us, as well as other labor unions. Because at some point, the jig is up. You cannot keep being dwindled and marginalized and disrespected and dishonored. The entire business model has been changed by streaming, digital, AI. This is a moment of history that is a moment of truth. If we don't stand tall right now, we are all going to be in trouble. We are all going to be in jeopardy of being replaced by machines and big business. Who cares more about Wall Street than you and your family? Most of Americans don't have more than $500 in an emergency.
That was incredibly strong. She went on to, also talk about, again, solidarity, saying that basically this was the largest strike authorization vote in the union's history. 98%. 98% voted in favor of striking. So that's huge, huge. And she said that we made the hard decision that we tell you as we stand before you today. This is major. It's really serious, and it's going to impact every single person that is in labor. And says that we're fortunate enough to be in a country right now that happens to be labor friendly. That I do disagree a little bit with that, because I don't think the United States is very labor friendly. Nonetheless, but that said, she's in a pretty large, very influential, very powerful union. And so them going on strike might have a pretty big downstream ripple effect. So that's awesome. She also says, you cannot change the business model as much as it has changed and not expect the contract to change too. We're not going to keep doing incremental changes on a contract that no longer honors what is happening right now with this business model that was foisted upon us. And she talks about AI, and she talks about the rise of streaming. Two sticking points. I'll get into detail a little bit more on that. She then said, quote, what are we doing? Moving around furniture on the Titanic? It's crazy. So the jig is up. We stand tall. You have to wake up and smell the coffee. We are labor, and we stand tall, and we demand respect and to be honored for our contribution. You share the wealth because you cannot exist without us. So that right there, that is the fundamental truth of labor. They cannot exist without the workers. So I absolutely love it. It's a very powerful speech. And look, this is after talks broke down on a new contract between the unions and the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers. She mentioned the sticking points, AI to replace writers. So imagine like all the writers, or a majority of writers, being replaced by AI, and just having a couple of humans there to check the writing. Wow. Okay. Now, that would be disastrous. And even more disastrous would be having actors replaced with digital recreations and AI, voice mimicry, and all that stuff. And these actors, their likenesses would be used, but they don't get paid. I mean, that's horrifying. Now, one of the things the studios wanted to do was to scan background actors once and then use those likenesses, to have access to those likenesses in perpetuity for the rest of these people's life, for the rest of time, without any additional compensation for those actors. And by the way, Drescher also addressed this. She said, look, those people get paid like $200 for appearing as extras. So it's really not even that amount of money, that big of amount of money to pay background actors. But these studio heads are so incredibly cheap that they just want to scan these people in, use their likeness without having to pay background actors at all. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So now look, here's the thing. You might think of Hollywood actors as like, you're a bunch of goddamn millionaires crying. Actually, no, the vast majority of actors that we all watch and we all enjoy, they're not the top 100, okay? The people that these issues impact are, again, small screen, not very well compensated actors and extras. These are people that are trying to break into the industry and are being exploited by these studios. The vast majority of actors and actresses do not make these millions of dollars. And not to mention, of course, you have more people than just actors that are involved in the production of the shows. And they don't make a lot of money either and work massively long hours. You know, think of all the stagehands, the crew, the camera operators, the lights, the people who, build the sets and do the costuming, all this stuff. All these people, they're not raking in the money. They're impacted by all this stuff too. And yet the CEOs of these companies, well, they don't care about compensating these people. In fact, they want to do what pretty much every CEO wants to do. Cut as many costs as possible so they can make as much profit as possible to give to shareholders. That's what's going on here. Okay? And by the way, speaking of the CEOs, as the National Board of the Union met on Thursday to vote whether or not to call a strike, Disney CEO Bob Iger accused SAG-AFTRA and the WGA of not being realistic in their demands. You're paying people, not using AI to steal your likeness for the end of time? Well, that is just not realistic. What? Iger, and this is according to a tweet from Warren Gunnels, has an estimated net worth of $690 million, while the median pay of screenwriters has gone down 23% over the past decade. So understand, the money is there. Oh, the money is there, but it's all in the CEO's pocket. They have more than enough money to pay actors. They have more than enough to be able to pay extras. They just refuse to do it because they want to make money. Now, Duncan Crabtree Ireland, National Executive Director and Chief Negotiator for SAG-AFTRA, told the New York Times, quote, "Look, we're just looking to make sure that acting can be a sustainable career choice for people, not just the 100 most famous celebrities out in the world, but for the whole large population of our membership. They should be able to make a living and, pay a mortgage or pay rent just like everybody else." And I agree. Now, that said, mainly this affects smaller actors and actresses, but on their side are some very notable actors and actresses. For example, people backing the strike so far is Meryl Streep, Jennifer Lawrence, John Leguizamo, George Clooney, Margot Robbie, Emily Blunt, Cillian Murphy, Florence Pugh, Josh Hartnett, Cynthia Nixon, Jamie Lee Curtis, Jerry Ryan, James Cromwell, Mark Ruffalo, and many more. Many, many more. Again, the vast majority, the solidarity here cannot be, you just can't I don't know where the word's at today. I have the best words, the greatest words, but you can't count it out. Okay. It should not be underestimated, the support that they have, the solidarity between all these members. And that's really, really huge. Because again, when you're looking at AI, for example, That's dystopian. Now, AI can be used for good things, right? Chat GPT to answer questions and things like that. But there's also a negative side to it. We have the ability to fake people's voices and recreate their likenesses, and that technology is going to continue to get better and better and more refined to a point where we're not going to be able to tell what's real, what's AI. And so you're taking basically jobs away from real human beings and giving it to unpaid machines, taking the human beings out of art. And I always thought that, when the machines come, that they were going to take over the menial labor. And that's, not talking about whether or not they would have a machine revolution. We're not talking about that. But they would do all the menial labor, and so that would free up human beings to live good lives and to focus on the arts and the humanities. But no, the robots are taking over the arts and humanities and leaving the humans to the menial crap. This is not good. This entire thing's got to be nipped in the bud. All right? And I'm hoping this massive strike will help to do that. There has to be some reining in of the widespread use of AI when it comes to the entertainment industry. And also in the journalism industry. Again, we've got AI that can, crank out BuzzFeed lists. And yeah, okay, listicles, sure, ridiculous, but at certain points, there will be AI that can now just do news stories that will pump out news articles. What's that going to do for journalism? Exactly. And so, again, there's a lot of issues here. Now, that said, the strike's obviously going to mean that some of your favorite shows are not going to be on. But at the end of the day, I think it's worth it. It's worth it because we have to have labor to finally stand up for what is right. And honestly, as I said before, this could have repercussions downhill for all the other labor movements that are going on in this country that maybe don't have the star power, that don't have, all the resources that a huge union like SAG-AFTRA actually has. So, anything that helps the cause of working people, I'm in favor. We all should be.